Peace again. Yo, yeah, I was building a little bit about last time. I was just building a little bit about many different layers of current. Some real cold and warm, others very swift and changeable. When this mist strikes, it becomes, and it's like another reason why it's important to access many different layers of currents. Striking up things differently and becoming other things, because like when you look at a lot of indigenous traditions, right, there's always the concept of mystical animals or mystical creatures, whether they're griffins, unicorns, dragons, or just animals that you necessarily don't see on a normal basis. Certain type of owls. You know what I mean? You go to Central Asia, which is so-called Africa, king cheetahs, you know what I'm saying? You go to other countries, you got eyes, and you got, platypuses, and, you go other places, you got golden lances, different type of snakes, but there's a lot of different animals or creatures that are seldom seen, and what happens is, the reason is because many different layers of currents, some real cold and warm, others very swift and changeable. So what happens is they have such irregular, according to our standards, routines that they're seldom seen. So what happens is they function within the creases of time and space where you never have access to them. So what happens is they basically create a smoke screen for any kind of predatory elements that may be trying to track them or hunt them. You acknowledge me? And it's like a hunter, because hunting season just opened up here in New York State. I'm not sure any other place, but, a couple weeks back, deer, hunting season for male deers, just opened up recently. So a lot of dudes is out there, hunting and shit, you know what I mean? And it's like, in order to be a successful hunter, you have to be able to know the routines of the prey that you're stalking. You know what I'm saying? You got to know their eating habits. You got to know their gestation periods. You got to know where they rest at. You got to know how long they rest there. You got to find out about this, that. You have to have their routines down to a science so that you could be sitting waiting for them motherfuckers when they come along. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is you being a hunter or symbolizing death, you can minimize the lifespan of that creature. That's what you're doing. You acknowledge me? So it's like, in life itself, we are all being stalked by death. You know what I'm saying? And some people some people, they not being stalked by death. You know what I mean? They like provoking death. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about mothers, like I said earlier, bungee jumping and shit, or doing all these different, driving motorcycles in the wintertime, doing wheelies and shit down the highway. You know what I'm saying? 75, 80 miles an hour, zigzagging and zigging through traffic and shit. You know what I mean? Going up and shit raw without a condom, and this motherfuckers you don't know. There's a lot of people that provoke death, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about just the reality that, our physical composition is all going to go back to the 5 elements that it came from in the first place, you know what I'm saying? The body going to go back to the earth, you know what I'm saying? The breath going to go back to the air, blah, blah, blah. So, like I said, in different cultures, you always see different mystical animals. You see unicorns, you know what I'm saying? And what makes them mystical, what makes them powerful, is the fact that they are seldom seen. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they're invisible, but they're such a fine mist that your naked eye can't detect them because of their routines. You acknowledge me? It's like where I'm at right now. I mean, sometimes I do certain things, like I may go hiking in the middle of the night or some shit like that, or just do different things to break up my routine like I was building earlier. You know what I'm saying? And at one time, I snuck up on a fox, literally. You know what I'm saying? And that is like, you go to some cultures by being able to bear witness to certain creatures, or to be, at that time, synchronized and in alignment with their routines. That is a divine blessing. You acknowledge me? because under any other normal conditions, you would never see an animal like that in your environment. I know a lot of y'all, where y'all live at, it's creatures or animals that live around you that you don't even know are there. You acknowledge me? And it's like, I did that one time. I snuck up on that motherfucker. It turned around, looked at me, and just jetted. Did not turn back. Like, damn. What the fuck is this motherfucker doing? Because foxes usually sneak up on humans. Because our routines are so out of sync with each other that we're not supposed to meet. You acknowledge me? It's almost like that movie, if y'all ever seen it, it's called The Others. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real twist. It's a nice movie. It's really got a real twisted idea. You know what I mean? Like, basically you got people that live in one sphere, and humans that live in another sphere. They live in the same born jewel, same house, but they never cross paths with each other. They always missing each other. One go in this room, the other one come in that room, or, you know what I'm saying? But you just got to do the knowledge on the movie. It's called The Others. But it's like back to what I was building about, you become, a person that is able to elude death, you know what I'm saying, by the ability to supplement your routines, you know what I'm saying, which is essentially supplementing your education from just, the normal, customary things that you do every day, and at the same time, you throw death off your scent, you know what I'm saying, or you definitely throw other people who have predatory tendencies off your scent too, because a lot of people sit and stalk you. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with the knowledge power degree in the 140s and shit. You know what I'm saying? Who is the 10%? Rich slave makers of the poor, teach the poor lies to believe that almighty true and living God is a spook in the sky who can't be seen by the physical eye, otherwise known as bloodsuckers of the poor. They live off your life force. So a lot of times they love knowing your routines. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is they can minimize your lifespan. They can minimize your life force. So, like I said, you study different cultures, you see certain animals that are, even in American culture, you got the Sasquatch, you know what I'm saying, in indigenous native traditions, or what, people commonly call Bigfoot. You go over to Scotland, you got the Loch Ness Monster, you know what I'm saying? You got all of these different so-called creatures, and I'm not saying they're real or fake. It's just the concept, the idea of being undetected by the naked eye. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm saying undetected by the naked eye, I'm still going through that build degree in the 140s. You know what I'm saying? Many different layers of current, some real cold and warm, others very swift and changeable. So it's like, what happens is when you look at these creatures, that's why it is always said that they live for thousands of years. Why? Because they are eluding death. You know what I'm saying? Their ways and actions are so out of routine with the average way in which people, predict or write their history or Quran. It's like they are able to sidestep, elude, and just smoke screen death. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's also, like something I think is good to apply to our own lives, to break things up, to make things new. And like I said earlier, I built about companionships. That's also important in companionships. That's how you extend the longevity of it. You know what I'm saying? By doing things different. You know what I'm saying? Doing things new. You know what I'm saying? And because if not, death is going to stalk you. Because death is stalking all of us, and you make yourself an easy target, not only for death, but other people who symbolize death. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what I want to build about too. Be like a unicorn. You know what I'm saying? Be like a phoenix bird and shit. Be like a certain type of owl. You know what I mean? Be something that, people can't put their finger on you a lot of times. And I'm not saying deal with a mystery god science and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is be mystical. You know what I'm saying? Be something that's divine. You know what I'm saying? It's something that can't be mixed, diluted, and tampered with in any fucking form. Because, if people can find your routines, next thing you know, your leg will be in a trap tomorrow. So that's all I wanted to add on with. Peace. I'm out.